like I said with the casting before, they did a great job with who they casted, but I felt that these characters that they were portraying were not as true as they were in the comic books. I mean, like I said, I don't want to compare, but um, if you're gonna do character, you have to do them justification. I felt that they did justifications for the film, but not justifications for the characters. Uh,
Like the Blob. Everyone to get on this topic for like the whole thing. The Blob was like this really big disappointment because when I heard the Blob was gonna be in the movie, I was like, "Hey, cool Blob!" And then when I saw the Blob, I'm like, "It's not the Blob." And then eating disorder happened, and then he's a fat guy that still wasn't the Blob.
yeah, and then another thing was that Blob was a mutant, right? In the film, they said he was a mutant, but they never
An
portrayed.
indestructible mutant.
But it didn't explain how was he a mutant. What was his mutation? He was fat, so he's a fat guy that's super strong. You just made the Juggernaut only fat. That's basically what they did. They said, "Hey, let's do Juggernaut but fat." I just was not satisfied with him as a character. To me, that whole scene was unnecessary, and it was more for a humor standpoint than actual story development. I mean, Wolverine could have just pulled out the claws, and was just like, "Look, from the get-go, look, you're gonna tell me where I'm going. If not, I'm gonna slice you." But no, he goes through this whole fight to do this whole CGI thing, and then to go in.
CGI thing.
Yeah, just everything was CGI. To then at the end go and say, "Hey, guess what? I got adamantium powers." Punches him.
Yeah,
What?
That didn't work for me either.
To me, he should have just did it from the get. Oh, I'm gonna put on boxing gloves. I want this guy to lose weight. No, Blob can't lose weight. He's made of tumors.
Duma.
So, let's see.
Gambit, another person that was in the movie. That was another unnecessary person. Why was he in it? I don't know. What did he have to do with Weapon X? Still don't know. And Escape.
Well, another thing was that I felt that they never really explained why he chose the name Logan.
Yeah, where did the name Logan come from in this version? For this version, because in the comic books he got the name from his father. And Emma Frost. Where the hell did they pull this one out of their asses?
Yeah, like I understand that Silver Fox and Emma Frost were sisters in the comic books.
Or in the movie, or just for the movie.
Yeah, for the movie too. But then you go and you watch this film and you're like, okay, so let's bring in Emma Frost so that Silver Fox has a reason for portraying.
For portraying Wolverine.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, that's
kind of stupid.
Like it made sense, but then again, so why couldn't Silver Fox just be messed up? Why does she need to actually be in love with Wolverine for there to be furtherment in the story? Why can't we hate Silver Fox because she did that? Because she betrayed Wolverine.
I don't even think in the comic book she had a reason for betraying Wolverine. I think she just did it to do it.
Yeah, so to me...
Or was she brain controlled? Something like that, I forgot.
But the point is that why can't we hate her for who she is? Because she's attractive? Or because her sister is being held captive? To show how bad William Stryker is? Okay, wow, we just showed how bad William Stryker is and how tragic it is that she died. But do I care? No, you don't care because you think, oh, she died, and then you find out that she betrayed him, but then you find out she's in love with him. So
it's like all is forgiven.
It's like all is forgiven. So then you're like, aw, I feel bad for you now. But then
you die.
Yeah, and then
I don't care.
Her sister, or the whole story wasn't even used in the entire film long enough for you to actually give. Like, if alright, let's say if you did the film right and you found out that Silver Fox was alive in the beginning instead of saving it at the end, right? You find out that her sister's being held captive. You would feel better at the end when Wolverine goes and forgives her and goes away. You're like, oh, I felt the same way. I would have done the same thing. Whereas at the end, it's like too much. To me, so much things was happening at the end. I felt that if Wolverine would have had a mental breakdown, he'd just been like, oh, I'm so confused. I don't know who to trust. Should I trust you? Should I trust you? I don't know. And I think
Shank everyone dead.
that alone should have went and said, okay, memory defunction, just turn off. End of story.
Cyclops. The hell did he have to do with this movie too? Give Deadpool another cool power for him to look at? No. Really bad. Deadpool had never had the powers or obtained the powers of Cyclops at any point at any time.
Yeah, and here's another thing. Why didn't this is just I don't know, I'm just thinking about this. Now, I'm at school, writing on a chalkboard. Some dude just busts in, tries to kill me, knocks my ass out. I can't see anything. But obviously, I think I would remember what the guy looked like for the original one to go and say, hey, that's the same guy that kidnapped me in the first place. And
There's the reason why I'm at this school.
yeah, I think that that's traumatizing enough for him to remember for the first film. So that's why I felt like there was no need for Scott Summers. Really, there was no need.
It was just because he got played in the third movie, and people were like, we want Cyclops back. So they were like, okay, we'll give you Cyclops.
We'll tie him into a story that doesn't make sense.
For Deadpool.
Yeah, for Deadpool. Which I don't understand. Here's another thing. If Cyclops was being watched by Xavier, right? Why didn't Xavier decide to kidnap him later rather than after this whole thing happened?
Why isn't Professor Xavier in jail? He kidnapped like 7 kids.
He kidnapped everybody. William Stryker was just like, well, Xavier got him. You can't look at me. And then Xavier...
And then nobody ever just, like, arrested his ass.
What happened to Emma Frost anyway? Dude, here's another thing that didn't make sense to me.
Where was Magneto?
Yeah, where was Magneto? That didn't make sense to me at all because Xavier is supposed to be gathering these kids with Magneto. And that is just not just a comic book thing, but if you watch Last Stand, you can obviously tell he went with Magneto to go get these kids. Oh yeah, he was just in the helicopter. Right. You couldn't even get a clip of him in the...
At least laying in the damn thing?
Yeah, like... So here's another thing. If Wolverine found out that Silver Fox really didn't do it, and Sabretooth really went to go and save him, why didn't Wolverine forgive him? Wolverine he forgave Silver Fox. Why not Sabretooth? Sabretooth is his brother. What happened to brothers before women? I don't understand why he would go and say, no, you and I, no way. Like, I still felt that there was nothing really making these two guys fight. I felt that Sabretooth was jealous that Wolverine had the claws. He wanted what Wolverine had. He wanted to be better. But there was nothing about Wolverine that I felt that Sabretooth could do better on. Sabretooth was obviously superior. He was more in touch with who he was. The only thing was that Wolverine had claws. But before that, he only had bone claws, which Sabretooth broke off. So I felt that Sabretooth should have no real reason to be motivated to go after him to say, hey, I'm better than you consistently, when obviously he was. The only thing was that Wolverine had claws. But if Sabretooth could regenerate just as much as he can, and he had those nails, what made him so jealous? It was something that I felt that in the comic books is a great mystery, but that's what makes it great. Whereas in the film, it just felt like we're answering all these questions for you except for this one.
Or any other one.
And here's another thing. Why doesn't Sabretooth remember Wolverine in the first film? And if he does, why doesn't he say anything? I mean, obviously he should know that that's his brother. So that's why I felt that them going back and forth without Sabretooth losing his memory in this film doesn't make sense. I mean, Wolverine losing his memory makes sense, but what happened to Sabretooth? I mean, shouldn't he remember him? And how does he get the long hair and the beard? You're going to give me further mutation? So the further mutation made him lose his memory, but that couldn't happen to Wolverine, could it? I'm just saying. I felt that the excuse that they gave him to lose his memory was really stupid. And here's another thing. At the whole end, Wolverine's about to die. And then Gambit comes out of nowhere. He's like, hey, I'm back. Did you miss me? No. Seriously. We was like, oh, we're getting captivated by the Deadpool fight. And then you come out of nowhere, you're like...
Where were you for the last 5 seconds that they were fighting?
Yeah, why didn't Gambit come in and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to help you out? No, he decides to come back at the end just to help him out. To me, the character...
Cool backflip?
To me, the character of Gambit wouldn't have came back. He would have just said, well, that's on you. And just left. And to be honest, if he did come back, why didn't he come back with the Sabretooth, Deadpool, Wolverine fight? Why couldn't it be all 4 of them fighting Deadpool? That would have been epic. But no, he decides to come back. You know what, I'm just going to break this rock, land, check if the kids are okay, not join them in the Xavier mansion, and just break out with you because, you know, you are cool. I like you.